Hello, fellow Guardians and friends. Josh here. I just wanted to take a minute to do a quick video. I was on vacation last week, which is why I didn't get to do any videos, and if my voice sounds a little strange, it's because I'm currently kind of sick, battling some kind of, some kind of sickness with my throat and my voice and my stomach and my head. I'm just, bleh. Probably have a fever, I don't know, but I'm sitting around trying to make videos and drinking a lot of emergency, trying to get better. But anyway, I wanted to make a really quick video. I was going to make a video about farming strange coins post the April update. However, I'll probably end up posting that one tomorrow. In the meantime, I wanted to talk about Destiny 2 a little bit and what I think might actually be happening in Destiny 2 as far as our characters go and if we'll get to even take anything with us. So, I was listening to the Planet Destiny podcast and they were talking about how they wish or at least hope that Destiny 2 is a full reset of the game, which means, you know, they're not going to take all the stuff you've earned from Destiny 1 away necessarily, but when you go into Destiny 2, you're going to make a whole new Guardian who's going to earn totally different exotics, and the game's going to play totally different, and that'll be that. Or you'll get to bring your Guardian forward and maybe bring certain things with you. These certain things, I don't know. I imagine that your character will, when you say bring it forward, will literally come forward in appearance only. I know that Bungie has stated in the past that your Grimoire score would be brought forward, which I think is great. It's sort of similar to what you see on HaloWaypoint.com, where they have the progress of all of the Halo games. So it's like, oh, did you beat Halo ODST on Legendary? Did you beat these other games on Legendary? Did you do these specific challenges and tasks? Well, you get these achievements tied to this sort of overall account that's tied to everything you do in the Halo universe, which is really cool. And I'm imagining that Bungie is going to continue in that sort of way. So all of the stuff you've earned in Destiny 1, all of the accomplishments that you've achieved and all your stats and all that will stay in Destiny 1, and if you want to go play Destiny 1, you would play with your Thorns, play with your Icebreakers, all that stuff, you can still do that. However, I don't think any of that stuff is going to come over to Destiny 2. And at first I was a little sad about that. I was sort of under the impression that we'd be able to bring stuff forward and backwards if need be. I remember seeing an article around the time Destiny 1 was coming out where Bungie had said something along the lines of like, oh, your Guardian will be able to go back and forth between Destiny 1 and 2. And while I don't think that's probably going to end up happening, it's a cool idea. It's an interesting idea. I've even toyed with the idea that maybe Destiny 2 is either a prequel to Destiny 1 or it takes place in an alternate timeline to Destiny 1, and maybe certain things and quests will transfer between the games. While that seems like a lot, it sounds cool and it sounds interesting, it also sounds like a lot of work, a lot of dev time, and then it also just seems like you're asking a lot of the player, because it's like, oh, not only do you need to own Destiny 1 and all the DLC for it, but you also got to own Destiny 2, and to get the most out of these products, you have to play both of them simultaneously. So while I find that idea pretty fascinating and interesting, I don't think that's going to be the case. Would Destiny 2 be a prequel? That's an interesting idea, because there's all these characters in the lore like Osiris and the Iron Lords and Saint 14 that we don't really get to see, and they're only really told about in the Grimoire cards. And I know a lot of those characters early on in Destiny's development were supposed to be in the game, like Osiris, I guess, was supposed to be the Warlock vendor, and you were supposed to have a rep with him. We know this because Bungie did an entire talk at GDC where they talked about how they built the Destiny UI, and in one of the rep things in the UI it says reputation with Osiris. So we know Osiris was supposed to be in the game, but then he was cut when, you know, the entire thing that Kotaku talks about happened. So if Destiny 2 was a prequel, it might actually be interesting to go back and see all of those things happen, like especially if the game has proper cutscenes. Destiny for the most part doesn't have proper cutscenes. It hasn't had proper cutscenes since vanilla, where your character was actually talking and interacting with the other characters. And then when Taken King rolled around, it was like they kind of cut a lot of that. Your character no longer has a voice. They changed, you know, Ghost to Nolan North. There aren't really instances where characters are talking to you and stuff. Like, you don't run across like Prince Uldric in the world, and he's there, and he talks to you and goes on missions with you in the story. It doesn't really occur like that. It's all told to you over transmissions and stuff, and that's something I'd like to see change in Destiny 2. I really want cutscenes to happen. I want NPC characters to fight alongside. I would love to see instances where you're fighting alongside the forces of the city. You know, this the non-Guardian defense force that exists in the city, and you know, maybe you're playing some sort of horde mode where you're fighting Fallen back and keeping them away from the wall, or you know, that kind of stuff. I think Bungie now has the opportunity to do that kind of stuff because the engine for Destiny 1 is just not that great, and that's why I think that that whole idea of us transferring our characters back and forth is just not really going to happen anymore. I think that the character's appearance and their accolades and all that stuff will transfer forward, and possibly, you know, if they say, oh yeah, he killed, you know, he or she killed Oryx in the last expansion, and they killed whoever the boss is in Rise of Iron, you know, they'll get a special shader or a special boost or something along those lines. Like, oh, you completed Vault of Glass in year 1, so here's this, like, here's Chatterwhite again. You know what I mean? When you go into Destiny 2. So, like, I could see them bringing over some of that stuff. But whether or not you're like, yeah, I'm going to bring my Thorn, my year 1 Thorn to Destiny 2, and it's going to be in the Crucible, right? I don't think that's going to happen. As much as I love Thorn, I seriously doubt that that's happening. But I would love to see some of the cosmetic things come over, just some of the things that I've completed, because, you know, I do Challenge of the Elders every week, and I play lots of Crucible, and I have done every raid on every difficulty. So it's like, you know, I'd kind of like my Glowhoo back, I'd like my Chatterwhite back, maybe some of my Sparrows and ships. That would be kind of nice, you know? But I don't see them bringing over weapons, and honestly, I don't want them to, because I don't like the idea that I'm relying on the same Suros PDX for like 10 years, because that's boring, you know? I like to switch it up. I like when Bungie creates more interesting weapons for us to use, especially exotics. But those are my thoughts on Destiny 2, honestly. I don't know, what do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments what you think. Is Destiny 2 going to be a prequel, a sequel? Will we actually have cutscenes and dedicated servers and 60 frames per second? Because I really, really hope so, and I want to know what you guys think as well. Well, I'll talk to you all later. Bye. I love you.